Recording is on.
Okay. In the last class, we stopped at this upgrade to nested if, and we were having issue with this formula. The troubleshooting was not working, so we'll continue with it. So to continue with it, we just need to start from the beginning of the exercise, which is from here. That's page 147. The notes is part of the link that is shared in the WhatsApp group. Introduction to self for data analysis or introduction to data analysis with Excel or something like that. So you're checking your WhatsApp group, you see the link to the notes. Now, um, this part of the exercise is just part of the practical under the topic. Excuse me, under this topic. Okay. Let's, let me open it in data camp. So that should be in chapter 3 of conditional formulas. So, of course, we mentioned about three or four conditional formulas: the and, the or, the not, and the if. And I mentioned that there are other types of if, which is the advanced if. Uh, Apart from if, there is ifs. So, but here we are using the if. So, this particular part of the exercise is covering well-nested if function. Well-nested if function. So let me open it from here. So, so now the background of the exercise says, I hope everyone can see my screen clearly. Let me remove this. Remove this. Okay. Now the background says, now that some additional categorization regarding shipment information has been added, if you attended the last class or if you have gone through the recording, you will see where we did all of that. There's some additional categorization regarding shipment information were added. Now, time to deal with the financial data as the data provided by data code. That is a company that owns the data we are working with. Of course, it's a fictitious company data. Not as if it's a real company. Just for the purpose of practicalizing what we are talking about. Now, it covered different business areas like sales and finance. They have also provided some key notes from each department along with instruction. Now, you notice that the finance department must handle any cash payment of $200 or more differently. So, the point here is that you want to see how to handle issue concerning cash payment, and not just cash payment that is of $200, and then and some other options regarding the cash payment. Now we'll be working with the file three underscore three well nested if workbook. I've shared the zip file containing these workbooks. So if you open yours, you should be able to see, uh, excuse me, data preparation. So if you open your data preparation in a Excel folder, if you have extracted the workbook file, you should be able to see inside the exercise and data set, this particular workbook. Where is it? Three well nested. Excuse me, let me confirm. Well nested if, yeah, three underscore three well nested if, that is this one. So let me double click to open it. Now I have all of this. So having opened the workbook, here are the instructions, the things we want to carry out. So, due to the fact that in the last exercise we added some filters, so if you open the workbook, this is three underscore three when nested if. You will notice that we added filter in order to get the same day and on time record. If you click the filter icon you can see on this particular column on time priority delivery, you click on it, you will see that same day on time was filtered. So the instruction here is to clear it. First of all, we clear the filters. For you to clear the filter is as simple as just going to under the editing tab while you're still on home tab, and then you see sort and filter. Well, of course, you see the funnel icon, which usually represents sort and filter. Click on it and you see clear. So once you click clear, it will clear all the filter that is available in this sheet. Now next, we are told to format the following columns as currency. So we have the product price, product cost, order, total discount, and then sales. All these columns, that is about four of them, need to be formatted to be in form of currency. Of course, it's dealing with money. Product price is talking about price of something. Product cost of something. Order total discount, amount that was discounted. And then sales is the actual amount that the something, that is the item, was sold. So all of them is talking about money. So we are formatting them as currency. So for you to format these columns of currency, just open your workbook. Remember, we are dealing with the orders sheet. We have them this side. Yeah. So this is the product price. This is the product cost. Other quantity is not part of it because other quantity is not a monetary value. Now we have all that total discount. We are adding other total discount because is an amount discounted from the actual price, the product price. Now the sales is this. So we have one, two, three, four columns. So just use control key to select all of them. I first of all select the product price by clicking on top of it. It's under the T column. So I click on that T, it get highlighted. So as it get highlighted, I keep on selecting the other ones by pressing Control, and I click on product cost, and I click on order total discount, and I click on sales. Having done that, I come to number formatting. That is this particular section, number, while you're still on home tab. Click on the drop down arrow where you see general. So once you do that, you will see currency. You select the currency. By default, it will turn everything to two decimal places. So you have the product price formatted as currency, so you can see dollar attached to it and it's in two decimal places. Likewise, the product cost, order total discount, and the sales column. They are all formatted now as currency with two decimal place. Now, and that is the instruction that was given to us. So make sure that it's in two decimal places. But let's assume that it's not in two decimal places. And two decimal places, all you need to do is to adjust the decimal places while you are still selecting them by clicking any of these with respect to whether you want to increase or decrease the number of decimal places. The arrow pointing left is to increase the decimal place. If I press it now, you see that it will increase. It has increased to 3. If I press it again, you see that it has increased to 4. So, but what you want it to be 2, so just reduce it by pressing the one by the right. So the right arrow pointing here is to decrease it to 2, it to decrease the number of decimal places. So I just click and click again, it has reduced it to 2 decimal places, which is what we want. Now, the next instruction, if I click next, says the sales is the order quantity multiplied by the product price, but it doesn't include the total order discount for each order. So create a new column, order total sales, next to sales to correct the issue. What are we trying to say? The sales column times the order quantity is what gave the product price. This is it. This is the sales column. So this sales column times order quantity is what, uh, excuse me, sales column times order quantity is, sorry, sales column is the order quantity multiplied by the product price. So the product of order quantity and the product price is what gives you the value of sales. So this is what we are talking about. This is the sales column. Now, this sales column is gotten by multiplying order quantity, which is 3 here, times product price. So imagine that this is the price of a laptop and the person that bought it bought up to 3 laptop. So the amount that is sold is simply this amount, which is the price of the laptop, times the quantity ordered, which is 3. So the product price times order quantity is what gives you the value for what? Sales. But we are trying to say that is not good enough because there is a discount column. Discount is the amount that is subtracted from the total amount of the value of that particular good. So now this discount column is not removed. I'm sorry, the discount value is not subtracted. So meaning that this particular sales amount is not the actual amount that the customer paid. So if you want to get the actual amount that the customer paid, you need to remove the order total discount. So for this person that bought something of $99.99, and he bought 3, he received a discount of $36. So we need to remove this $36 from the sales. Remember, the sales is simply what? The product price times order quantity. So we need to remove this order total discount from the sales to reflect the exact amount that the customer bought the goods. So, excuse me. So next we so next what we need to now do to do that is to subtract the total order discount from sales. So we need to create a new column to do that, and we are to call that column order total sales. That column is what? Order total sales. And we should put it next to sales. So if you open your Excel workbook, this is sales. So we want our next, the column we want to create to be next to sales. All you need to do is to click the column that is, select the column that is next to sales, right click on it, and then you see insert. Click on the insert, you get an empty column. So I've just copied the name we want to name the column, which is what? what's it called again? Order total sales. I've copied it. So I want to paste it inside the header. This is the header. I double click to go inside the header, and then I paste what I wanted to paste. So which is order total sales. So I want to resize the width. All I need is just to double click on this line between two columns here, between the order total sales and payment. So if I double click on it, it will resize for me. Now, so for me to get the order total sales value, I need to say equal to, I'm using the formula to extract that information, which is what? Simply sales, the value of sales, which is in X2, minus order total sales. So we are subtracting the order total discount. So we are subtracting the total discount from what? Sales. So I select this one. So once I click enter, the deal, the work is done. So we have that the order total sales after removing the discount is now what? $263.97. So I need to do the same calculation for the remaining row. So for me to do that, all I need is to just on this particular small square here showing, I just double click on it. Excel will automatically do the remaining calculation for me. And that is what we have done. So the next instruction, which is number 3, says that we should add a new column to next payment, a new column next to payment type. Here is the column payment type. So we need a new column next to it. And I think that is the last column. So we just go to the next cell, which is AA, to create a new column. So that column should be called cash payment. We are told to call the column cash payment. Cash payment. So I copy it, I come to the workbook, and I double click to enter inside the cell. I paste it and I click enter. The formatting will automatically copy the formatting of other headers. I double click on this line to adjust the width of the column. Now, the next thing I want to do is we are told that using and the if function, identify which orders have been paid for using cash and have a total order sales value over $200. So we want to use these two functions. Remember, we are talking about the logical function, of which one among them is the and if function. So we want to use these two functions to identify the orders that have been paid for using cash. So we want to find out orders that were paid by cash. And those orders that were paid by cash, we want to know also if they are if the total order sales is above $200. So two things we want to know: if it is cash and if it is above $200. That is the total order sales if it is above $200. So how are we going to do that? The two outcome in your new column should be cash over 200. So if it is cash and it's above 200, we should say cash over 200. And otherwise, if it is not, we should indicate order. I go over it again. So we want to find out the payment that was made by cash, and if it is above $200. Now, if it is cash and above $200, we want to call it cash over 200. And if it is not, then we call it order. And we are told to format the new column header to match the rest of the column, which is done already. So what we need to do now is to use the and if function to achieve this. How are we going to do that? Just come into your column, the first cell in your column, excuse me. Just come into the first cell in your column, cash payment, and put your equal sign to tell Excel that I want to type a formula. Now Excel is expecting a formula and we want to say if, okay, before then, let me first of all use and so that it will be easy for everyone to understand. Let me use and to identify the payment that are cash, and the payment that is above 200. We want to know if it is cash and above 200. So the best function to achieve that for us is the and function. So we say and what is the logical, so if you see, if you notice, it is requesting for the first logical parameter. So the first logical parameter is if what is inside here is equal to cash. So I click here and say if it is equal to cash. So I want to check if it is equal to cash. So remember, cash is a string. So while I'm typing it, I need to put inside a quotation mark. Assuming it's not a string, I will not put inside quotation mark. So I've given you the first logical statement. Want to know if what is inside this place is what cash. After that, we want to also know if the other total sales, which is what is inside here, if it is above what 200. This is number. So we will not put it inside quotation mark. The one that is not a number will be inside quotation mark like cash. So having done that, I close my brackets and I click enter. So it tells me true. Is that okay? It tells me true. If I double click here, it will do the same thing for others for me. Now, if you watch, here is actually cash. What we checked is what? We want to see if it is cash and if it's above 200. So this is cash and this is 263. It is above 200 and 200 and is now evaluate to true. Now this one is cash, but this is 113.97. It's not above 200, so it evaluate to what? False. This one also is cash, but this is 63.99. It's not above 200, so it's now false. That's how the rest is. So if you watch from debit, debit is not cash, automatically is now false. Transfer is not cash, automatically is now what? False. So we have used and to identify that it is cash and if it is above 200. Now, we want to say if it is cash and above 200, we want to say that it should write instead of this true and false. Instead of this true and false we are seeing, we want it to write for us. We want to replace this true and false with something else. So we want it to say that instead of saying true, if it is actually cash and over 200, we should say cash over 200. And if it is not cash over 200, we say others. So those places that you see true, we want it to show cash over 200. And those places you see false, we want it to show others. So to do that, we'll now use if statement. So we're going to adjust this formula now and put it inside an if statement. So once you put if, this is an if statement. I say if, so what this if statement is saying is if what and this that is evaluating is true. If it is true, that is a logical test. This is our logical test. If it is cash and if it's above 200. If it is true, comma, what should we do if it is true? Value if true. That is the next parameter. So value if true is we should say that cash over 200. So I use quotation mark to write that because it's a string. So I say cash over 200 and I close it with quotation mark. Now, and I put comma. Now then after I put comma, it's not asking me which value should I put if it is false. So when it is false, which value should be there? Remember what we said is what order. So I use quotation mark to say order and close it with what quotation mark. And I close my brackets for the formula. And then finally I click enter. So you can see, because it is true as we had before, it is now cash over 200 instead of saying true. Now if I double click on this small square here, it will do the remaining one for me automatically. That is the power of Excel for you. So I double click on this. So you can see, because this is cash but not above 200, is now here saying order. This is cash not above 200 order. This one is transfer and is not above 200. So provided that is transfer, is no longer cash, so you have order. This one that is actually cash and above 200, because 263 is above 200, it now give us what? Cash over 200. So that's what the formula is doing for us. Actually, we did this in the last class. This is just a book for purpose of refreshing memory, so that we can complete the other formula that was giving trouble the other time. I believe we are together. Now, the next step is, that is number 4. Number 4 next step says it will even be better if you could distinguish cash payment over and under $200. So that is the nested if we are talking about. So you say it will be better if you could do what? Distinguish cash payment. So over and what? Under. So we want to see now if it is cash payment, one, and if it is over 200, two, and if it is under 200. That is, so you want to now have that column to be containing information about whether it is cash and over 200, or whether it is cash and under 200. Now, if it is not cash and is not over 200, neither is it under 200, we want to now say that it should be cash not over 200. So, because of that, we want to alter the cash payment column, the formula there, we want to alter it by using nested if. So, so that it has three output values. What is the output values? Number one, cash over 200. So you want to identify that it is cash. And if it is cash, is it over 200? And also you want to identify if it is cash, and if the cash is not over 200, that means it is under 200. That means, so we cannot say cash not over 200. Now, if it is not cash over 200 and is not cash under 200, that means it is not what? Cash. So the third value we want it to have for us is non-cash payment. So once it's not cash over 200 and neither is it cash under 200, then it should now mean that it is not a cash payment. So to do that, we'll be using our nested if inside the same formula. Now, I don't want to do it here. Let me do it outside here. Is that okay? So that there won't be confusion. If I do it inside here now, you may get a bit confused. So let me copy this column and put it here, so that I can delete this one later. So I want to do it separate. So now we don't want it to just say cash over 200 and other. So we want it to indicate if it is cash over 200 and if it is cash under 200, and if it is neither cash or over or cash under. So to do that, I just come inside this cell and say equal to, and then say if. What do we want to check? We want to check if, first of all, I want to check if it is cash. So we click on the payment type column, the cell here, we click on it, say if what is inside here is equal to cash. I put it inside the quotation mark because it is a string. So I type cash. Remember, it is in capital letter, so make sure what you're typing is in capital letter. and then I close it with a quotation mark. So if it is cash, apart from whether if it is cash, I still want to check if it is if the other total sales for this cash payment is above 200. So because of that, now after I put comma to separate this particular parameter, which is logical test, instead of me to now say value if true, I want to say if again, because I don't just want to check if it is cash. I want to check if it is cash and if it is what? Above 200. So instead of me to now say put the value if true, I'll now say again if. Which if am I trying to do now? If the other total sales is above 200. So I want to check if what is inside here is what? Above 200. So once I click, I now say greater than. I selected what is inside here. So I want to say if it is what? Greater than 200. Now, inside this nested if now, I can now say that if that is true, I want to say cash over 200 from what we have in our instruction, cash over 200 and cash not over 200. So if it is true that it is cash and it's above 200, so I want to say cash cash over 200. I close it with quotation mark and say comma. Now the next parameter is now saying, okay, if this condition is not true, what should I do? Then that means it is cash not over from what we have here. Cash not over 200. So inside quotation mark again, I now say cash not over, sorry, not over 200. I close it with quotation mark. That is the value if it is false. Now, I now close this particular nested if, that is the if that is inside the outer if. So I'm closing the bracket for it now. Remember, the if outside, I have not given it the value when it is false. So I now put comma. So it's now expecting the value if all of this other option is false. And the value I want it to have is what? Non-cash payment. So you put it in quotation mark and say non-cash what? Non-cash payment. Is there S in it? Let me confirm. Non-cash payment. Yeah, non-cash payment. Then I close it with quotation mark and then close my last bracket for it. So once this is done, I can now click enter. You can now see it's telling me cash over what? 200, because this is actually above 200 and this is cash. Now, if I click on this square, double click on this square, and I will now have the rest done for me. Let me increase the width by clicking on this line dividing the two columns. So the width is now properly aligned. So you can now see now, the first row says cash over 200 because this is cash and the amount here is above 200. The second column is say cash not over 200 because this is what? Cash, and the amount here is not over 200. So cash not over 200. Likewise, this one and this one, they are all cash, but they are not over 200. Now, when you now came to this particular row, you now see this is debit. So automatically it is not cash. So you don't need to talk about whether it is even less or above. So this is debit. We now say non-cash payment. And majority of them is what? Non-cash payment. This was what gave a little issue in the last class, and there was no time to quickly rectify that. So let's move it over to today's class. So we have done the cash payment, we've done justice to the cash payment column now, which is the last instruction. So now There is a question here for us to answer to verify if whether what we did is correct, which is the fifth instruction. It says, using the status bar at the bottom of the sheet. This is status bar. This place. This place is status bar. So using the status bar at the bottom of the sheet, what is the average total order sales amount for orders categorized as non-cash payments? So now non-cash payment, we want to see the average total order sales amount for orders categorized as non-cash payment. So for us to do that, we need to filter it. You can see it containing cash over 200, cash not over 200, and non-cash payment. But we need just the information about non-cash payment. So what I need to do is to click on the column and then go to filter icon. Use the filter icon. Remember, while you are still on home tab, I click on this drop down arrow and click filter. Is that okay? So if I click filter, it will apply filter for me on it. It has not come. Let's do that again. So you can see drop down arrow has appeared. So this drop down arrow now that appeared, if you click it, you will see the three options you have here. Cash not over 200, cash over 200, and non-cash payment. So I want to unselect all of them by clicking this select all. If I uncheck this select all, I will uncheck all of them, and I will now check only the non-cash payment because that's what we want to count. I click OK. So I have done that. If I highlight, um, actually, from what I see, so you can see all what is showing now is non-cash payment. If you scroll down, 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 all through, what you'll be seeing is just the cash payment. Is that okay? But now, what they asked us to check is what? Let's go to instruction again. What they ask us to check is the average total orders sales. So you need to go to, since what is showing now is only for non-cash payment. So go to order total sales, highlight on it. You can see in this particular status bar as we are instructed. Remember, we are instructed to use what? The status bar. So immediately you highlight this order total sales, which is for non-cash payment because we just filter the non-cash payment. You will now see average. If you look well here, what you are seeing is what? 197.33. 197.33. So if you come back to this place and put 197.33 as your answer and submit it, it takes it good for you. And that takes us to the next exercise. I don't know if we are following. Please, if you have any question at this junction, you can drop it in the chat section or mute yourself and ask your question. If you have any question, drop it on the chat section or mute yourself, or you mute yourself and ask your question. Okay. If there is no question, then we go to the next exercise. Next exercise. Now, the next exercise, of course, all what we did now is what we have in the notes here when listed. If this is just the explanation and instruction of all what we did now. So you can go through it for a refresher or while you are trying to practicalize it yourself. If you don't have the data set, that is the zip file that was sent, please do well to check the links in our subgroup. It is there, or maybe I will check again. If it's not there, I will add it while updating the list uh, next time. So now we want to go to the next exercise. The next exercise is about notes and comments. Now let's read the background. Your data colleagues and managers will be excited to see your work so far. So you will have to share your file at some point to help others understand what you have done. Add some notes and comments to explain and discuss your work. Now, notes and comments is simply used to show to explain what you have done or to open a discussion. Discussion in the sense that you want your colleague to contribute and say, this thing that I did, is it the best way? Do you think is the best way to do it? So when you are not dealing with comments, you are not opening a discussion. But when you're dealing with notes, you are just giving an explanation. So note does not really require response, while comments require a response. So if you are using notes, that means you don't need response. You are just trying to give information. While when if you are using comments, that means you want some response. That is how it is in Excel. So this time around, we want to work with 3_4 providing feedback workbook. Let me close this one we just worked with. I close this 3_3, close it. Now I opened 3_4 file, which is this one. Double click on it. So this is 3_4 providing feedback. Now this is just a continuation of what we just did now. As you can see, non-cash payment was filtered here. And that is why in the first instruction, we are told to clear all filters that might be active in the others sheet. And we are still on the others sheet. So this is the other sheet. So to clear all the filters as usual, click this place and click clear. So click clear and everything is gone. So we are no longer having non-cash payment, we're having every other option as it is. Now, I and the next instruction says navigate to product sheet. Navigate to product sheet. So this is the product sheet. This is others and why this is what product. So click on product sheet. We are now currently in product sheet. Now the next instruction says add a comment to the average product price data in cell H3. Now I just remembered that the Excel that I'm still using is the 2021 Excel, but some of the exercises we have here in data camp cannot work with 2021. Is that okay? Um, it's so it can in that case. I think in one of the class I recommended that everyone should install anything above 2021. Before 2021 was very okay to do anything you want to do. In fact, even 2019. If you go to data camp, they'll tell you that you should use anything as from 2019 and above. But at the moment, Microsoft removed a number of features in 2019, 2021. So some of the features we'll be working with is now available in 2021 below versions that are below from 2021 downward, except you have a version that is above 2021. So, and that is the reason why this particular exercise will not be working with the this particular Microsoft Excel that I have because it's 2021. Actually, there used to be a lot of issues if you want to change your Excel. The 2021 was working perfectly for these topics or for the functions and the features we are working with. Just like I said, uh, the Microsoft removed a number of them just recently. So I'm still taking my time to get the later version because it's not really a straightforward thing to uninstall this one and successfully put the later version. Sometimes it used to involve a lot of technicalities uh, due to uninstallation problem. So at the moment, we will be working with the online Excel to avoid that issue. So I want to close this one and don't save. So for me to work with online Excel, I just let me open up. Everyone is still there. Now let me open Google and search for online Excel. Let me say online Excel sheets. Yeah, online Excel sheet. I click enter. It takes me to this place. I select the first option, edit spreadsheet online for free. So uh, let's wait for it to load. So now it has loaded. Now I want to upload a file, and the file I want to upload is this particular one we're working with. Where is it? 3 underscore 3_4 providing feedback. So I want to upload it. So I click on upload a file. So if you do yours, you can still follow the same process, you get the same results. And I have this file inside this place as exercise, data preparation. No, this is Power BI. This Power BI, this inside here. So I open this place under data preparation, exercises and data set workbooks, and I have 3_4 providing feedback. So I just select it. So as I select it, I click open, and it will open for me. So we'll have it open now. The next thing we have in the instruction says we should add a comment to the average product price. Remember, okay, before then, let us do what we have in the first instruction, which is to clear filters and go to the product sheet. So if I come up to my online Excel, I want to clear these filters. Actually, the online Excel is a bit uh, it's not exactly the same with other that is the normal offline Excel. So for me to clear filter, I go to home. I go to home and then come to while I'm home, I come to here. Are you there? This our filter icon. I click the drop down arrow and click clear. So once I clear it, everything is cleared. So I now have the complete data set. And then we are told to go to the product sheet. This is the product sheet. This is the product sheet. So now while we are on the product sheet, we want to, we are told to add a comment to the average product price, and is inside H3 cell. Look at it. Sorry, not this one. H3. Look at the product average product price. It's inside H3 cell. As you can see, this is H3. This is H3 cell. So they say we should add a comment to it. And what is that comment saying? Okay, it's here. They say we should add a comment to it that questions. Remember, we say that comment is used to initiate discussion, while note is used to just give information. So we said it should add a comment that questions if the use of average as the aggregation method is the best way forward for the creation of an expensive product categorization. All I need is to just copy this grammar. Just copy it and edit it to what is saying that we should do. So I go to the Excel online. Now I click on this particular value of the average product price. So for me to add note, comment to it, I can come to review. review tab. If you come to review tab, you see new comment here. So you can click on it to create. Another option is to click on this particular cell where you have your data and right click on it. So right click. You right click on it, you see new comment here as well. So let me use this one. I click new comment. So you can see the comment is now saying Nwachukwu Obinna. So he's identified the person that put the comment. So this is actually useful for the online Excel because you can share your file with another person that is even in another place at the same point or a different point in time. You can share with somebody in US, in UK, Canada, anywhere, any part of the world, and the person will see your comment, and the person can also send his own comment, and you see that okay, so person made responded to the comment, and then another person can as well add his own comment and so on and so forth. So my comment is saying the question say if is so I'm going to paraphrase this now and say is the use is the use of average as the aggregation method the best way, let me remove is here, the best way forward for the creation of an expensive product. So I remove the full stop and put question mark. So I paraphrase the what I copied to create the exact question. So you say, is the use of average as the aggregation method the best way forward for the creation of an expensive product categorization? So this is more of like you trying to ask your colleague. This option that I choose to for the average product price, is it okay? So your colleague can now comment. It's okay, it's okay. Or if it is not okay, the person might say, okay, no, go this way. I think the other way is better, something like that. So I click this place to post the comment, just like the way you post something. So I posted the comment. Is that okay? So click outside to um, clear. So each time somebody comes here, the person will see the comment. Once you hover on top of the cell, once you hover on top of the cell, you see the comment, as you can see. And then either you hover or you click, you see the comment. So now anybody can respond to it. Anybody can respond to it. Now, if you watch, it is showing at mention. So you can also mention anybody that you want to respond to it. Having done that, the next uh, the next instruction says navigate to the sheet others. So we go back to the sheet others. This is others. We click here and go to others. Next is we should add a note to the column cash payment in cell A11 that describe what columns we are used to create the new column. So we have the cash payment here. This is a cash payment. Sorry. Sorry, I'm dealing with the wrong distance. So this is where we are. This is the cash payment. So we are told to add a note. Remember, note is different from comment. Note doesn't require response. So add a note to the column cash payment in cell A11. This is cell A11. So in this place now, I want to add a note to this cell A11. So did I say A11? Cell AA1 rather. Now that describes what column we are used to create the new column. Now, which column did we use to create this new column? We used what? We used Y2, which is this, other total sales, Z2, which is this. And then I think that is all. So we used other total sales and payment type to create this. So you can just come up here, either you go to the review and then click on notes. So you see new notes, you can check previous notes, next note, show all notes, or I can come and say I right click and I see new note here, which you can also use shift plus F2 to open. So I just click new note. So I have a new note, and it's also indicating that I'm the one that is uh, made the note. So the note is simply going to say that the cash payment, the cash payment column is gotten through, okay, let me say by uh, using if and function on the other total sales and payment payment type column. So this is what is requested from us, that we should add notes to the cash payment column, that is this particular column, is gotten by using the if and the and function on the other total sales and payment type. So click here. So once you click outside, you have added the note. So if somebody comes here and then clicked on this red icon, you see the note. So this note now is not waiting or expecting for a response from anybody. So like I said earlier, comment expects you are initiating discussion. Why note? You are just giving an information. So that's what it is. Now, so the next instruction is a question. So if you look at it, it's asking comment versus note. Which is better for annotating? That is adding informational text. That is what I've just repeated over and over again. So you say note because comment is to initiate discussion, but to give information you use what? Note. So click submit and that marks it correct answer. And that takes us to the next chapter. I don't know if there's any question. Oh, there's any question. Okay, Opel, are you there?
Yes, I mean,
Hope it is clear.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. Seems network is troubling because I'm not hearing you very well. Um, we just introduce the next lesson. As for the exercise, we will continue with it in the next class, seeing that many persons were not in attendance today. We are not in attendance today, so so maybe in the next class we can carry them along from the exercise. So the next thing is lookups and data transformation. Lookups and data transformation, and let's explain that with the from the notes. So we're done with all of this, all of this, all of this. So lookups and pivot tables, that is data transformation. So in this section, we want to explore the lookup functions and pivot table. They are very useful to retrieving information and summarizing data in Excel. Now, lookup and reference function. Now, Think of lookup functions as Excel address book. Just like in an address book where you find someone's phone number by searching their name, lookup function lets you find related function in the dataset using a known value. So what I'm trying to say is that if you have an address book and it's containing names of people and their maybe address and some other information and phone number. So if you want to check the name of Mr. Johnson, sorry, the phone number of Mr. Johnson, all you need to do is to search through the column where the name is, that is the name column, and then locate Mr. Johnson, and then from there you go horizontally and go to the column for the phone number, and you will now see the phone number of Mr. Johnson. That is simply lookup. Another illustration is you have a sheet containing the exam scores of students, let's say in mathematics, and then it's containing the name of the student, the class, and then CA1, CA2, exam total, and total score. That's the addition of the CA and exam and all that. So now you want to check the exams, that is the total score of a particular student. Let's say John is name of the student, John Mark is name of the student. So all you need is to go to the column of the that is the column name, and then locate John Mark, and then now search horizontally through to the column where this total score is, and you now see the score of John Mark. That is simply lookup. So lookup is not a big deal. Sometimes it look confusing to some persons. Lookup is not difficult. So that thing you just did now is a manual lookup. So there are cases where you want to do lookup in Excel. We have powerful Excel function that does that for us, and we are going to deal with just two of them at the moment, and that is the VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. There is normal lookup, there is VLOOKUP, there is HLOOKUP, and the most advanced and most powerful among them is the XLOOKUP, which simply means extended lookup. Now, the VLOOKUP means vertical lookup, and HLOOKUP means horizontal lookup. So, two key lookup function we have here is what the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP, which is what we are going to look at. So the VLOOKUP will help you to find a value in the first column of a table and return a related value from another column. So it will help you to find a value in the first column and then return a corresponding value for you in another column. Like the example we gave, the exam score. Now, it will help you to search the name of the student, John Mark, which is usually in the first column. Now, this is the limitation of VLOOKUP. Anything you are searching, that your lookup value, in this case now, John Mark, from the example I gave, it must be in the first column. But if you get to HLOOKUP function, you see that it can be in any column. You can search back and front. But VLOOKUP can also only search forward. So it will search from the first column and then look for the corresponding value to any column of your choice, like we did or we said about the total score. You go to the total score column to get the total score of your mark. So that is how VLOOKUP works. But HLOOKUP this time around is more of horizontal. Is just like you are working with a data set that is appearing horizontally. VLOOKUP, you are working with a data set that is appearing vertical. So HLOOKUP will help you to find a value in the first row of a table and return a related value from another row. VLOOKUP is returning value from another column, while HLOOKUP is returning value from another row. That is what makes VLOOKUP to be vertical lookup, and that is why HLOOKUP is what horizontal lookup. Now look at VLOOKUP here. So this is the syntax for VLOOKUP. The syntax is lookup value. table array, column index, and range lookup. So once you say equals to VLOOKUP, now you provide some parameters to it as we have been doing for other functions like and if. All those things we are putting inside the bracket, they are all the parameters. Now here, what is lookup value? Let's break everything one after the other. The lookup value is simply the value that you want to search something for it. Like in the example I gave, John Mark is the lookup value. John Mark is lookup value. That is the value you want to find. It can be text, number, or a cell reference. Now, what is the table array? That is the next parameter, table array. Table array is the data range where the lookup will happen. So in that example I gave about the student's record, the range from where that name column appear to where you have the total sales, that range is your table array. So table array is simply the data range where the lookup will happen. So it will search between these columns, the whole of this table, from that first column to wherever you have selected. So that is where it is going to search. So that is the table array, the range that you want VLOOKUP to search for you. Now, column index number. Column index number in this case is simply the column number in the table from which to retrieve the result. Column index number in this case, now from the example I gave, searching for total score. The column number, let's say you count column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. Let's say the column number where the total sales is 4. So that 4 is your column index numbers. That is the number of the column where your total sales is in the example we gave. So we are still going to see an image that is demonstrating all of this. So now that is the column index number. Now this last parameter, range lookup, which is inside a square bracket. I've said it before in one of the classes that anything you have inside a square bracket is simply an optional argument. So what does it mean? It means that you can put it, you can leave it. Your function will still work. Now, but what do you have in range lookup? Range lookup takes in two different values. Either it takes in false or it takes in true. It takes in false if you want exact match. If you are searching for exactly that value, like in the case of example I gave, John Mark, you want to make sure it's John Mark you are searching. But if you don't want it to be exact match, you use true. That is approximate match, meaning something like John Mark. Let's say if you not see John Mark and he sees John let's say John Martins or something like that, so something that relate to it. Actually this approximate match is more of use or is more relevant if you are dealing with numbers. You're dealing with numbers. Most times it gives you issue if you are dealing with string, that is letters. So that is VLOOKUP for you. Now, this is what we are just talking about. This is a VLOOKUP of, we have a table containing student ID, first name, last name, test date, gender, class, math score, and all that. So now we want to check the score of Rosie. Rosie. So we say equal to VLOOKUP. What is the first parameter from our syntax? The first parameter is what? Lookup value. So the lookup value is simply the position where you have Rosie. So you want to search for Rosie, which is D20. This is what? D. This is D. And this is what? 20. So Rosie is what? In D20. So that is the lookup value. And then the lookup array, that is the table array, is starting from here, which because Rosie is in first name column, so you don't need to start from student ID. You start from student ID, you're going to get error. So you start from first name and select through to where you have your lookup, that is your result column, which is in your parameter. It is called what? Column index number. So from here now, from this place through to this place is your table array. That is what we have what? From C5. This place now is C5. This is C, and here is what? 5. Sorry, the first name. Here C, and this is what? 5. So from C5 through to the whole of this to what? H15. Through to H15. So you are selecting the whole of this table from here without the student ID. So from C5 to what? H15. That's what we have here. C5 to H15. From here to this place. That is what you have as a table array to 8H15. And now the value you want to get, the corresponding value of your lookup value you want to get is the score of Rosie, the math score of Rosie. And this is the column where the math score is. Now count. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, we selected from first name, not from student ID. So your counting will start from what? First name as 1. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means your column index number is now what? 6. That's why we have 6 here. Now we choose false because we want exact match. If you want approximate match, you put true. But we want exact match. So you put what? False. That is an example of VLOOKUP. I hope we are still together. Now, the HLOOKUP is the same. The difference is simply the row index number. So instead of you to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever column, you are now counting row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So VLOOKUP deal with what? Column number. Here is 6. While HLOOKUP deal with what? Row number. So let's say you are searching for the uh you are searching for, okay, let's use the example in HLOOKUP here. But before then, this is the syntax. The syntax is the same. The difference is just the index number. So we have equal to HLOOKUP, the lookup value, then the table array, the row index number, which is just the difference. The VLOOKUP is what? Column index number, while this one is what? Row index number. And then you have the range lookup, that is either true or false. If you say false, then you want exact match. If you say true, then you want approximate what? Match. So parameters, lookup value is simply the value to search, like John Mark. Table array is the range you want to search, the places you want to HLOOKUP to search for you. While the row index number is the row number from which to return the value. That is the corresponding value of the lookup value you are returning. The row index number where it is. Now the range lookup is false or true. False for exact match, true for approximate what? Match. Now in this table, we are saying we want to find the total sales of banana in 2017. Total sales of banana in 2017. This is 2017. So 2017 is the lookup value. What are we looking for? Total sales. So since the lookup value is 2017, so we have 2017 inside here. So the lookup value is D14 because 2017 is inside what? D here is what? 14. D14. That is the lookup value. And then we have the table array, which is from what? D14, which is this. Sorry, the table array is from B5 because you are getting from the whole of this to this place. So B5, this is B5. So we are selecting from here all through to this place. From B5 to what? H9. This is H and this is 9. So we are selecting actually the whole column. So that is your table array. Next in our parameter is what? The row index number. The row index number is what? Because we are looking for total sales of banana. Are we there? Total sales of banana. This is banana. Banana is in what row number? Is in 4. That is, if you count from here you selected, you always count from where you selected. Remember, I was selected from this place all through to this place. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So count banana. So now we say false because we need exact match. And once you do that, um, you will see that it's returning the 2019 sorry, the 2017 value for us. This is 2017 and it's now what? 16,214. So that's why I have 16,214 here. So the difference is simply that the H lookup looks horizontally while VLOOKUP looks what? Vertically. Uh, so that is what happens here. In the next class, we will continue with pivot tables. Pivot tables. We'll continue with pivot table. We don't have time anymore. Continue with pivot table. Then after that, we'll now do practical exercise on all of what we have just talked about. So please, we'll continue in the next class. But I don't know if there is any question. Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
Uh, none for now.
Okay, okay. It's all right.
Thank
You are welcome. You're welcome. So we continue tomorrow by 6:30. I hope others will join and early enough. All right. Good night.